Hello, brothers and sisters. Today I'm just quickly hopping on to answer a couple of questions that I've been receiving. So, this is so weird. My live is popping up on the screen. Okay, so what is a cacao ceremony? Why is it important? What is it all about? And also, why ceremonial grade cacao in particular? Can I not just drink any cacao? So I will talk into why cacao ceremony and what it is. Cacao has been used for many civilizations all through South America for thousands of years as the plant spirit that represents fertility, abundance, and heart opening. And it is the heart opening that people today are tuning into, are needing more than ever before. It is when we open our heart that the world changes. Our heart is like a Pandora's box, and we've protected it for so many years. Our heart contains all of our answers. Our heart directly links to the divine spirit, creator, God, Allah, Buddha, Krishna, whoever you call divine. It is the main magnet to everything that you attract in your life, in the world. And it is the biggest, antenna, radio antenna. We all are connected to each other, and we all connect just at such a pure, non-judgmental, authentic, real place when we connect with each other from our heart. It takes us out of our ego mind. So when somebody is to have a cacao ceremony, they can tune into their heart and they receive the true answers. They receive their next steps. They receive an amazing meditation. They just receive their signs and messages in a way that the ego mind, our mind, can't take over and start throwing in doubts and thinking about what would everybody else think. And it takes all of this left brain hemisphere of logical thought away, which can be can really sabotage us because it's trying to keep us safe. And we have all been born in such a system that it is quite normal for us to constantly be seeking other people's approval and stability and safety in a way that we don't jump out of, we don't jump out of the safety security line too much. We are born so creative, so intuitive, and we've had the school system break that down so that we can all be functioning members of a society that has been designed for us to live in. So if you want to talk about the Matrix, it's not us and our consciousness. It's just the false kind of, government run society that we have to live in. And so when we come back to our heart, that's why so many people today are not working 9 to 5. So many people today are giving their true, authentic way of giving. So cacao brings us back to that. It brings us back to a form of ritual, which used to be, you're welcome, honey, you're welcome, Shagun, I hope I said that correctly. And we've all, it doesn't matter what color your skin is, we have all come from a line of ancestors who would have once taken part in ritual as a very, just for everything. Don't forget that you are also part of a lineage of ancestors who used to work with Mother Nature, who used to work with the planet cycles and the weather. who used to be in tune to all plant medicine and be in tune with themselves. Don't forget that we all have healers in our lineage. We all have ancestors who worked with the land in our lineage. So there's not a single person who doesn't have the birthright to give their magic of healing, if that's what you've come to this lifetime to do. And I think to be able to ceremony again, to bring people back to the place of ceremony, it allows you to, honestly, it allows you to get real and be real with yourself first and foremost. It allows you to really answer the questions of what you need and what you want in your life. It allows you to put up the boundaries. It allows you to build up your self-esteem if it's low. It allows you to manifest anything you want to manifest. It allows you to step forwards in the way you want to step forwards. It fills your cup with all the things that you need, that you would have been lacking or may have been lacking before. So why ceremonial grade cacao? Well, not all cacao is created equal. And by that I mean not all cacao is created equal, because some have a lot more caffeine in it than others. So non-organic farmed cacao will have a higher amount of caffeine in it. And also not all chocolate or cacao products are created equal. I say this because if you go to, say, a health food shop and there's drinking cacao there, it's not the same. All cacao powders have fiber taken out of it, have the butter taken out of it, so that it can mix into your chocolate drink and completely just disappear and melt away. You know when you're making real ceremonial grade cacao, because it will split. There is a lot of the butter and the oils and the fiber in the cacao. It's like when you've juiced fruit and all of the fibers come and sit at the top. All the good stuff is sitting at the top. That's what ceremonial grade cacao will look like when you blend it or cook it on the stove and you pour it into a glass jar. It will separate. You can add a couple of ingredients to help kind of make it a little bit more thicker throughout. But if you were to just boil ceremonial grade cacao with water, it will separate, and you will see that. Your cacao, when you decide to purchase your cacao, it will come in different forms. Make sure you are buying ceremonial grade. It has to say ceremonial grade, or it just simply isn't. Or 100% cacao paste, which is just the bean ground, and that's it. Molded, that's it. So these are a couple of forms your cacao might come in when you buy. Just broken up blocks. I used to sell it like this. I no longer have all day to sit and cut giant blocks up with a hammer and chisel. But they can come like this, and then you cut them up yourself and put them in your cup. I found this to be a pain in the butt, mainly because I used to have to kind of measure it, and trying to teach newbies on how to cut it, like just how much they need in their drink. It becomes really fiddly. It's a bit of a pain, and I actually noticed that I would make it much less often at the thought of having to cut up little uneven chunks like this, because you'd be cutting it up and then you'd get to a thick bit and it'd be flying off all over the place. And it's also really, really magnetic because it's full of iron, and it would, like, the shaves would stick to my knife. So really glad I don't have to deal with these anymore. They also come in big blocks. The blocks can be in many different shapes, and depending on what company you're buying, they can be in circles, they can be in blocks like this. And all of this, just so you know, if you ever receive cacao with this kind of like peachy coloured powder on it, it's just the sugar. It's a crystallized sugar coming to the surface of the cacao. It is not harmful. I've had my hearts arrive having melted during transit. So this is how mine comes in. And it's so easy, I just pop 1 or 2 in to melt in my blender or in the pan, depending how I decide to want to make it. And it just melts, and it's much easier than like cutting it up when I don't feel like I want to cut it up. I just want to make my cacao. And I've had them shaped into hearts as I've been guided by Mother Cacao. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so these can arrive melted together. Obviously, it's Australia, like it's 45 degrees in our summer sometimes. And when it gets melted together, the sugar comes up to the surface and it looks like this. And it looks like it's awful rotten, but it's not. It is simply just the tiny little sugar crystals coming to the surface. It's called bloom and harmless. Just consume it as per usual. Nothing wrong with it. These blocks break down into this, but sometimes cacao can just be ground. Like if I were to ground this, it can come ground, and I guess that's why some ceremonial cacao businesses would call it powder. So just make sure it says ceremonial grade, because it can come completely ground like a powder, like a flour, but a coarse flour, obviously. Yeah, and it can have, your ceremonial grade cacao can have other sugars mixed in it, can have chili in it, can have different flavors. It's totally up to you what you feel like, what you're drawn to. I always say to trust your gut as to what you're drawn to. Have a look at the story if you feel like you need to know why those people started their business. Get what you feel from the website, get what you feel from looking them up on Instagram. What are they all about? Do you resonate with it? Are you aligned with it? There are so many choices now, so always just go with your gut. And that is my little chat about cacao today, about cacao ceremony, and also the different kinds of ceremonial grade cacao and why it must be ceremonial grade cacao for it to be a cacao ceremony. So I hope that's helped answer any questions that you have, and if you have any more, please don't hesitate to ask me. I hope you have a wonderful day. So much love, Lena.